everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cryptic Commander. We are your hosts. I'm John Noce.
This is Onik.
And we've got a special episode for you this week. Mm-hmm. So I actually was blessed to sit next to Jeff Labenstein, the man, the myth, the legend himself. And I actually sat down and had a little interview with him. And so I've got some pre-recorded footage right here that I'd like to get into. But first, let's just cover a little bit of news, and then me and Onik will be jumping off of here, and then we're going to play that pre-recorded footage. So first off this week is Card of the Week. There's going to be some more talk about this card later on, Onik.
Yeah.
With that pre-recorded footage. And boy, I've got a lot to say about this, but I don't want to spoil anything, so let's bring the cat out of the bag. Card of the Week this week is Cartographer.
An old school blast from the past.
Absolutely it is here. It costs 2 generic and 1 green. Of course, it's a creature with a 2/2 body. It has an ETB effect, which is whenever it comes into play, you may return target land card from your graveyard to your hand. And the reason why I picked me, John, personally, this card to be Card of the Week is because it's done by Jeff Labenstein himself. There was some questions I had to arise, like, did you know, if you look, I'm not sure if you knew, Onik, but if you look real close, that's a plumb bob on the bottom. And a plumb bob. You know what a plumb bob is?
Is that, we're looking at the Exodus version of the art, not Correct. The Odyssey. Okay. Is that, I mean, I assume is what the I guess the creature's holding in his hand, but is a hanging thing?
That's the hanging thing on the bottom. So that's a plumb bob to make sure you got your center of mass perfect. So it's a tool used by like a carpenter, right?
Yeah, I've seen this before. I just never knew what it was called.
Right. Now, if you look on the top of the picture, on the top of that same gizmo, do you see the very, very top thing in the middle? Do you know what that is?
Looks like a scope.
So the thing at the very top in the middle, not the left, not the right, but the thing in the very middle at the top is actually a spigot handle for water. Do you see it now?
I think so.
Yeah, so like, you know, you look at a thing where, like in your basement or something, and it's got like 5 rings in one circle. You know, you put your hand around it and it's got waves, you know, more or less like a circle in the middle and 5 circles that surround it. And you just twist it with your hand to shut the water on or shut the water off.
Oh, yes.
That's what that is. And when I first looked at this card, I don't think I was looking at any of the detail on this card. Just the fact that it is a detailed picture, you know, which was done by hand. A very iconic card, too. You know, of course, it's not show and tell. It's not recurring nightmare. It's not rare, right?
Yeah.
It's uncommon. But again, though, I think later on in this episode, you'll see why this is a very special card and why I picked it to be Card of the Week. What are your thoughts on this card?
When you look at the art itself, this is back in Exodus, it was a summon townsfolk, not a creature human. So I just find it kind of funny. So this townsfolk, he has, like you said, he's got a very intricate tool in his hand. I don't even know what it is, but he's holding it with one hand. He's kind of extending it out on the side of him. Mm-hmm. The creature is wearing like a cloak or a vest, and it's got a bazillion tools on it. Yes. It's got everything, like whatever those things are. The creature seems extremely well equipped to do this job of cartographying.
yeah, you're saying the right verbiage. I've talked to a couple people about this. Yeah, you're saying the right verbiage. I didn't even pronounce the card right when I first start talking about it to people. They're like, it's pronounced cartographer. I'm like, oh. They're like, you know, like photographer. I'm like, oh, okay, I got you. So you're saying the right verbiage.
I mean, I guess initially you might be a cartographer or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought when I first saw it, right? But again, later on, because I want the listeners to experience it like I experienced it, right? I had questions about this artwork and this card to Jeff. And I think, Onik, if you listen to the podcast later, you're going to find some hidden gems in just this topic alone. Good. So you'll see why I picked this to be Card of the Week. But yeah, man, that's your Card of the Week this week, brought to you by Jeff Labenstein and the Cryptic Commander. All right, Onik, this week I think you've got movers and shakers.
Yes, I do. Brought to you by powered by MTG Stocks. We are skipping top decks this week, just because we're trying to condense a little bit more so we get more time for Jeff. So our cheap pickups, we got Thrumming Stone, $5.16, is slowly trending down, so this is a good time to pick it up. It's about $5 right now. So yeah, this is from Double Masters, so the reprint is dropping the value. Next up, Olivia, Crimson Bride. This is the one from Crimson Vow. It's trending down to around $6 right now. And then the third one, it was actually moving up a little bit. Realms Uncharted. This is about $5. To me, it kind of looks stable in the past 6 months, but I guess maybe 3 months ago it was down a little bit. Still, it's a good card.
I like the fact it doesn't say basic anywhere on the card.
It's funny how this card actually talks about land too, since we're talking about cartographer.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it kind of just goes with the flow, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, top 3 movers and shakers, and there's been a lot of commotion this week, looks like. Number 3, Cloth, which is spelled Klauth, Unrivaled Ancient, is about $28 with a 74% increase. It's a legendary creature dragon. So to me, anytime I see a dragon that's moving up, it's just, it's a commander thing.
Well, at first glance, too, you're looking at something that costs $7 to bring out.
Yeah.
It's got Flying Haste, 4/4 body, of course, a bunch of other words on it. But you wouldn't think it's $28, but it is a dragon that could be cheated out.
Yeah. I mean, anything could be cheated out.
That's technically true.
Yeah.
What's the words I'm missing here, though? Whenever this attacks, add X mana in any combination of colors, which would probably be green and red, right? Where X is the total power of attacking creatures.
Okay.
Spend this mana only to cast spells, so you can't do it with abilities. And until the end of the turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases out.
Yeah, because you're getting that mana during you're getting this mana during combat, so it just wants to give an opportunity to cast more dragons, pretty much. Or whatever else you want.
Or combat tricks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that too.
That's a lot. That's a lot just for the third. The third. We haven't
if you
number 2
put this creature on the table, is it then a tablecloth? Anyway, moving on.
Oh, you did.
Please don't unsubscribe from us. Anyway, moving on. Okay, here's number 2, Astral Dragon. Like I said, another dragon, I guess is a commander thing. It's about $5.66. It's about 25% increase. So to me, again, it's just a commander thing. It's an 8 mana blue creature, 6 blue, flying 4/4. When ATBs create 2 tokens that are copies of a non-creature permanent, except for the 3/3 dragons. Yeah, the dragon, it's commander stuff.
Well, besides too, though, there's a lot of talk about blue dragons, right? With the and like there's not a lot of blue dragons, and what was it, black dragons they were talking about or something?
I think blue has the second most dragons.
Well, the thing is there was like a new commander deck that came out. Something came out recently.
Yeah,
where it helps blue and black dragons. I'm like, well, there just isn't enough of them. I'm like, excuse me, because even the one from AFR is really solid, right?
Yeah. I mean, we talked about Emerith last time too.
Yeah, so I mean, this one fits right the bill too. So
yep,
I like it. Oh, it's from Commander Baldur's Gate, Commander Legends Baldur's Gate. That's cool.
That's a commander thing. It's just, I don't know. Again, for me, it's just like, let's move on. That's just me for my commander stuff.
Well, the thing is too, with the blue dragon when it came out in Baldur's Gate, every time I got one of these, when I drafted, when I did sealed, whatever, right? I'd put this aside because it's like it's too slow, bro. I got to go with another idea to win. So for this to be $5.66 and moving up is a shocker to me. But again, dragons are a thing, man. People love their dragons.
Yep. Oh yeah. I think it's the number 1 favorite creature type of what I remember. It might be. Yeah, it is number 1. Because I remember Mark Rosewater had a podcast of like people's favorite creature types or something, and I think dragons is number 1.
That's what's up.
And speaking of number 1, Fairy Noble. This is from Homelands.
What?
Yeah.
A card from Homelands?
Number one. Yeah.
What?
$3. It's $3.61, so it's not that big, but it did go up by 63%.
That's a lot for a Homelands card.
Yeah.
Check my forehead, check my nose, check my cheeks. Am I running a fever? What's going on here?
Yeah. It's I should probably look at the Oracle text, but yeah, I'm gonna look at the original Homelands version. So it's a Summon Noble. So all fairies you control get +0/+1. Tap it, and then all fairies you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So it's kind of like a fairy lord, even though green is probably the worst for fairies. Does it have any fairies besides this guy? I mean, there's another card down here too, which is again from a Homeland, so it also has gone up a bit. Willow Priestess, Summon Fairy. It's a 4-mana 2/2.
Take a fairy from your hand and put it directly into play.
Yeah. So it's another fairy lord of the sorts. And a target green creature gains protection from black until end of turn if you pay some mana.
Well, there's been sporadically through the years. I think there was one in Shadowmoor or something, But every once in a while they'll throw a fairy out there. But I remember back in the day with these frames and stuff, those were all over the place.
The old school frames.
Yeah, the what are we talking about? Fairies. Yeah, that was like an old school creature type that you don't see too much of nowadays.
Not too much. Well, actually, you do again. You said it sporadically.
Sporadically, yeah.
It doesn't receive a whole lot of support, but it does show up here and there. And also at the very, very top, it's probably worth mentioning if you are a follower of mtgstocks.com, they have done 100 updates in a row without missing anything, which is pretty noteworthy. So I congrats to them. Appreciate the frequent and constant updates. Thank you for keeping us all informed and helping us make smart financial decisions about Magic. So thank you.
A big shout out to mtgstocks.com.
Yeah.
And movers and shakers powered by mtgstocks.com.
Next up in other news for Magic, there is a card game that's coming out.
Disney,
yeah, the Disney stuff is going to be called Lorcana or Lorcana. I don't know how you want to pronounce it, which is allegedly going to rival Magic the Gathering and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. This is coming out next year, fall 2023.
The article I read said that they want to have 2 steps level down from Magic. They don't want it to be as complicated.
Well, Magic isn't insanely complicated, yes, but it's also Magic has been out for 30 years. Like if you keep regurgitating the same thing for 30 years, it's gonna lose its flavor.
Well, I mean, I understand where you're going with that, but in my opinion, right, it hasn't lost its flavor because they're actually like Planeswalkers were introduced in 2007.
Yeah,
right? They're still a staple. They're still a staple.
Yep.
You're not going to find a box without 1 or 2 Planeswalkers in it anymore. Every standard set's going to have at least 2 Planeswalkers in it. That wasn't something that was planned. It was just the success of Planeswalkers.
Yeah, but that's also the evolution of the game.
It is, and it's where we're at right now. So, I mean, you got to keep changing. Otherwise, like you said, it will be bland and boring, and what's the point, right? Tired of playing this, But the mechanics, I think, when they add new mechanics, which gets overwhelming, is probably why it's so complicated, right? All the mechanics they add to it. But if Disney does the same thing and they're going for 30 years, they're going to have to do the same thing.
Yep.
Not reinvent the wheel, but let's change a little flavor. Let's add something. Let's add a new creature type. Let's add a new thing. Let's add a Planeswalker. They're going to have to do something just like Magic. But there brings the question, after 30 years of Lortopia, wouldn't it be on the same level as Magic? Like, would you believe that Disney's card game is the most complicated game in the world? It would almost have to be if they want to keep longevity like Magic.
Yeah, you're right. They have to keep updating it. Again, it also depends on how frequently they have expansions or whatnot.
Yeah, that's a good question too.
Let's say, for example, any card game, it doesn't have to be this Lorcana. If any card game only has 2 expansions per year and that's it, like expansions, I'm not talking about supplemental products or whatever.
Right.
Like, they don't have to try to keep up with themselves like how Magic does.
Well, like you said too, we've said it before, other content creators say it too, that not every product is going to be for you, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I'm really feeling fatigued, and it's like, not every product is for you. You know what I mean? So, but the thing about Disney is if they do a smaller release and they don't do things like they don't have other formats right now, so they're going to just do the sets. So there's no need to come out with a Commander set or a Modern set or a Pioneer set or a Vintage set, or an Arc Enemy, Arc Enemy, Plane Chase. You know, the list goes on, bro. So I don't think the fatigue will be there immediately until things kick off. Now, on average, I want to put this out there so that everybody understands this. On average, and you can do your due diligence on this and your research, a collectible card game life expectancy is 1 year. And you can Google that. You can do your research. A trading card game like Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh!, which are the big three dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
The average lifespan for a collectible card game, I'll say it again, is 1 year. Now, if it's going strong, like Flesh and Blood, for example, a year or two from now, then it might be one of the top three. But right now, you got to get past that Pokemon Yu-Gi-Oh! Hump.
Yeah, because when I started hearing about Flesh and Blood, I thought it was a brand new game.
Right.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. You're like second edition or something, right?
It's been out for a while. And I'm like, what? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. The MetaZoo, it's the same way with me on that one. What's MetaZoo? Yeah, what's MetaZoo? They're like, oh, it's a hot new trading card game. I'm like, I never heard of it. Like, it's pretty big. I'm surprised you haven't heard of it. And then everywhere I go, I see MetaZoo signs and products. I'm like, okay, I guess it is big. But I do want to remind everybody that, you know, they say, and who are they anyway? The average lifespan of a trading card game is 1 year. So only time will tell on this. I like the idea. I watched Disney growing up. I'm not opposed to this at all. What does raise my curiosity is, isn't Wizard of the Coast in bed with Disney?
No, they're two separate things entirely.
Well, there was so I'm not sure.
I'm sure if they've collaborated with like like Hasbro's making Disney toys, that happens all the time, I'm sure.
Let me put this into perspective so you understand where I'm coming from. They partnered with Magic and Disney when they did the Sorcerer's Apprentice. So they had Dak Faden or whatever the guy's name was, right? Which was a card. They even had a promotional card made up for the character in the movie, which is so rare right now. It's going to be worth a lot of money because you had to be you had to go to a screening and be like the first 100 people in that line at that movie theater to get that Magic card. Okay. It exists. It's the name of the character in the movie. So it's probably not Dak Faden because I think Dak Faden's a real character, right?
He's the greatest thief in the multiverse.
He's the what?
The greatest thief in the multiverse.
Oh, there you go. So it's not Dak Faden. It's the other guy. I think I'm going to get chewed up on this later, but it's the main bad guy character from the movie, you know.
Which movie?
Sorcerer's Apprentice with yeah, so now, but I want to say another thing too. Not only is that the tie-in, but there's more tie-ins. When Lorwyn, Shadowmoor, and Eventide, when that came out, there was World Wake. Now, when World Wake came out, they had the set. Now, you probably know this, right, Onik? They have code names for the sets. Okay, like Larry, Curly, Moe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know that? Cool. At that time, when World Wake just got printed, okay, and we are getting ready to go to the Eldrazi thing, and after that one, right, Rise of Eldrazi, whatever it was called, it was Eldrazi stuff, right? They had that block prepared, but they were working on the next block. And when I got word of what the code words were for it, my mind was racing a million miles an hour. The code words were lights, camera, action. Now I put two and two together at that time. I'm like, wait a minute, Disney, Magic the Gathering, lights, camera, action. We're getting a Magic the Gathering movie, baby. And this was back in 2008. And here it's 2023 almost. And there's still no Magic the Gathering movie. Right? Yeah. So I was wrong. But if you looked at the bottom of the Magic the Gathering cards in 2008, the promotional card, I'm not talking the playing cards, the token card you get in the packs, look at those closely. It says Walt Disney on the bottom, registered trademark. So that brings the question: isn't Hasbro in bed with Disney?
In bed? I mean, I think Disney wants to get in bed with everyone.
Yeah. So, I mean, kudos to them. You know, I think I tried. I was a Donald Duck fan, a Scrooge McDuck fan. Sure, I like Mickey and Pluto and Goofy. They're adorable characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. That's some news, though. You know, that's about the only news I could dig up.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot else going on. I mean, as far as other news in general, Of course, we had the pre-release that's happening actually this weekend, like right now.
Right now as we're speaking. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane. I opened one pack so far because I got a whole box of mine sitting downstairs right now, but I opened one pack out of somebody else's box. Didn't pull anything, man. Nothing worth talking about.
Yeah, so I actually did I did the pre-release last night on Friday. We could talk about that more in detail of how it went because I also plan on doing a draft next week.
Mm-hmm.
But short version, I won only one match out of two. Sorry, one match out of three, so I won 1 and 2. And since I won one match, I actually did get a set booster, which I got right here. So I'll just go ahead and open it up. I haven't even opened it yet. So I can do this live. Get that nice, crisp pack sound. Oh, speaking of an art card, what is this one? Oh, Joyra. I like that.
Nice. A friend of mine pulled her. That was his rare.
I got the Stained Glass Swamp, Tangled Islet, which is the Forest Island, Juniper Order Root Weaver. It's a long name.
Right.
Vine Shaper Prodigy, Coalition of Warbrute, Hurler Cyclops, Sprouting Goblin, Ruluk Mons, Warren Chief. I got this is a stained glass Bortuk Bone Rattle. This is also stained glass Resolve of the Claw. That's a rare.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I got Sulphur Springs. That's a land. Second. Oh,
a pain land?
No, foil Liliana. Oh, my God.
You got a foil Liliana?
Yo!
You got a foil Liliana?
Yo!
On the podcast.
I am not even joking.
On the podcast, brother. Thank you, Monique. That's what's up.
Oh!
That's what's up, man. Congratulations, buddy.
What?
And look at that foil. It's shining in different directions, man. I bet it looks pretty.
Yeah. A picture.
Right. And it's standard legal now, man.
Boom. Oh, dude.
Standard legal.
Let's go.
Thank you, Watsy.
Oh, man. Yes, dude. This is... I am so happy.
Look, you just sent me a picture. You just sent me a picture of it. Yeah. Like, I believe you, brother. Okay. I believe you.
Wow.
Congratulations, man. But we're running out of time because I want to make sure we get the pre-recorded footage of Jeff in here. So we got to move on. I'm really proud of you. I'm so glad you got... Dude, I just got to telling you, I opened a pack. I didn't get anything. A buddy opened a pack. He really didn't get anything. The Giora, And I'm like, hey, it's a good card, But the Liliana foil?
Oh, yeah. I am double sleeving her right now.
I bet you are. Oh, like, I don't know, bro. I'm going to stop this podcast, okay? All right.
Yeah, so the pre-release... Now I say I did really well in the pre-release because I pulled a Lily.
It's not over with yet, right?
Yeah.
This set's not even released.
Okay. So next week we're going to do a draft, and we'll talk about that as well. But as far as level up, I do want to talk a little bit about rotation. So this happens once a year, which is technically happening right now. Rotation always happens every year with the September release of the expansion set. So this happened last year with Zendikar Rising. This happened last year with Innistrad. Innistrad Midnight Hunt. The previous one was Zendikar Rising. Previous to that, Throne of Eldraine.
Okay.
Previous to that was, I think, the regular Dominaria.
Right.
They are always in September. Rotation only applies to standard, and if you care about alchemy, that too. But basically, it's out with the old and with the new. Standard has only the legality of 4 sets. The last 2 years. And when standard rotates, the last 4 sets drop out. So this rotation, all the cards from these 4 sets are no longer usable in standard. So you cannot use Zendikar Rising, Kaldheim, Strixhaven, and Adventures of the Forgotten Realm. Those are no longer standard legal. Right now, what is standard legal is Innistrad Midnight Hunt, Innistrad Crimson Vow. What came next? Kamigawa Neon Dynasty.
There we go.
Streets of New Capenna, and this brand new set that has my beautiful Liliana, Dominar United.
Nice, man. Nice, dude. Well, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the Crimson Vow and Midnight Hunt personally, but I'm going to probably build a deck. And if there's going to be, because it's brewing season right now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, it's an important time of the year. There's going to be some people that going to go sell those cards that are going to drop down because of rotation. That's a thing.
Yep.
You're not going to be able to play your deck if you want to keep up with Standard. I like Standard myself.
I enjoy Standard too.
Yeah.
So a lot of people do not like Standard,
right?
Because their entire deck is invalidated because of this rotation
rule set, right?
Yeah, and players don't like that. Like, I can't play with my deck anymore when I spend my money on it.
Right.
That's why a lot of players tend to like Commander or
a lot
Pioneer
of players.
or Modern that does not rotate. There is no such thing as this is too old. You can't play with it.
Before Pioneer was a thing, it was Modern, and I used to tell people you're going to probably go to Modern after a while once you realize it's going to be money. You're going to go into Modern. But now there's Pioneer, which is easier to fall into, not as pricey. But I like the fact that, I know there's a lot of formats and people are like, I got a new one, I invented, and some people want it to take off like Pioneer. But there's going to be more formats later on too. That's just truth be told.
Down the road, yes.
Yeah, truth be told,
But none of those formats are going to rotate. The reason why I want to talk about it now is because in case you don't really know about Standard, if you want to get into Standard, now is the time to do that. Because you don't have to worry about rotation for another whole year, but just know that it does happen. It's inevitable.
And rotation proof. Rotation proof. That's another thing that ties into this too. What does anybody mean by rotation proof? That's right now, as Onique said, now is a good time to get into Standard because next year is when they'll rotate.
Yeah, on pretty much September 5th or whatever
of next year,
2023.
Yeah. So that's what we mean by rotation proof. If you get in on the ground level right now with the Standard and you get those cards, then you really don't have to be pushed into Modern or Pioneer immediately. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know if I would use the phrase rotation proof, because to me I would use that for for Pioneer, for Modern, for Commander. But it's a bit safe. It is safer to invest in those 5 sets that I mentioned because those will not rotate for a while.
I don't know why we say rotation proof, but we do use that term rotation proof when this happens right now.
Yeah, well, that term tends to come up like maybe let's say this was like 2 months ago,
right?
And then you want to get into Standard.
Yeah,
if you want to buy cards from Kamigawa or New Capenna or something. Those
rotation
you might say
proof.
is rotation proof, yes.
Right.
But if you want to buy stuff from Zendikar Rising or from Strixhaven,
not rotation proof.
Yeah, because those are about to fall out of rotation. So we say, before you invest in, all these elf cards from Kaldheim or all these landfall stuff from Zendikar, you might want to, think about it. If you want to play this deck for the next month or two, sure, but probably avoid that theme because it's going to be invalidated really, really soon.
All right. That's
rotation. Again, it happens once a year. And it's the only format that rotates.
I want to say that, I'm going to go ahead and do an outro for the listeners. And I hope, because I want the listeners to stick around because we've got some juicy footage of me hanging out with Jeff. Side note, I haven't done it yet, right? So I want to go ahead and do the outro, but I want to let the listeners know that after I say my catchphrase, please stay tuned after the break because it's going to be that pre-recorded footage of me talking to Jeff. And I hope you guys enjoy just as much as I enjoyed spending that time with Jeff and recording it.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it.
Right, man. Me neither. And I'm the one that did it. So, with that being said, if you guys are out there enjoying pre-release, I hope you get some epic pulls like Onique did.
Mm-hmm.
And not like your Uncle Johnny, because I got some wolves. I've only opened 1 pack, but I got a box downstairs. But what I plan on doing with that box was to help give some free packs away, right, for the listeners. And I want to start doing pack battles on the YouTube channel.
Oh, that sounds fun.
I know, right? And
would that be a Patreon perk?
It's going to be a Patreon perk, yes.
Okay, cool.
So that'll add another level, because the thing with Patreon, you want levels, right? And I've only got 2 or 3 levels right now. So yeah, that will be a Patreon only participation thing. Again, help sponsor the podcast. We really appreciate all of you that are listening right now. We also tend to enjoy feedback. So if you're not already, please go ahead and join our Facebook group, The Cryptic Commander, and give us some feedback. If you want us to change something, or if you enjoy something about the podcast, let us know. We really want to interact with you guys more.
If you have questions for us, if you have a suggested topic, if you have a submission for card of the week,
absolutely.
If you want to ask, maybe a personal question, when did I start playing Magic? How long has John been competitive?
Right.
How does John know all these crazy people in the Magic world? Like, talk to us. Like, I'm approachable. Like, I'll talk to anyone about anything. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. So keep that in mind. We're looking out for you guys. And until next time, keep spell slinging. So everybody, as as Onique and I had mentioned earlier, I'm blessed to sit down in front of Jeff Labenstein.
I'm a Padre, after all.
The legend himself. And we're looking at the card of the week here, which is Cartographer. And I've actually talked to one of my friends, and he was like, hey, man, I want you to really, really look at this picture, right, Jeff? And he told me this. And he's like, what do you see? And I'm like, man, I see a whole bunch going on, because I'm actually a guy who pays attention to detail. Mm-hmm. And the artwork in this game of Magic the Gathering is what actually drew me into the game.
Sure.
And he explained to me that this on the bottom is a plumb bob at the very bottom of this man's device.
It is a plumb bob.
Okay. I know what a plumb bob is, right? Because my dad was a carpenter and this and that. And at the very top here in the middle is
a faucet handle.
Is a faucet handle. Now, what I mean by that is, too, like, if you look at some like basements, you'll see maybe some people have the quarter turn going on, or the handle with a hole in the middle with like 5 holes around each side. You twist it like you're turning the water hot or cold. So, can you explain to me what's going on? I don't know what a cartographer is.
A cartographer is a map maker. He is surveying the world that he is exploring. He seems to be out in the desert someplace, i.e. the sandy background and a little bit of a cliff edge there. And like a Mad Max world, he has cobbed together cool little devices that help him with his trade. So he has a surveying device that has a magnifying glass on one end. It has a tiny little lens on the
like a scope?
A little scope on the other end. It has part of a old wooden, or an old level, or that you would use. It's got the handle on an old wooden square. It has the handle of a Bedouin dagger. It has a plumb bob. It has a blue bead to ward off the evil eye. And that seems to be just about everything that's in there, but there's probably more.
Probably more, huh? So you want people to really look at that art. So it's a surveyor.
He is a surveyor, yes. He is marking the territory, which is why it also has that little bit of a graphic circle and arc behind it, and the rays going out at a 45-degree angle there.
Again, I want to let the listeners know we are looking at the Exodus version of this card.
Yeah, it's not Donato's, it's the original version.
The original version. Mm-hmm. So there's another person that did the artwork of Cartographer?
Donato Giancola repainted it several years later.
Not like this image, though?
No, it's completely different.
Different.
His is a fellow leaning over, and a beautiful map is spread out on the table.
Oh, wow, man. Yeah, I mean, I really, really appreciate you giving us more insight on at least this card alone. I mean, there's so much work that you're famous for, dude. Like, and I say dude, right? The reoccurring nightmare and show and tell. And, I've done my due diligence. I've actually looked at other podcasts and YouTube shows and did a little reading on some articles that those are the ones you constantly really talk about, because, let's face it, those are rares and those are really powerful cards. And,
sure. But it's nice of you to pick up Cartographer.
Really?
And as you said, there are all sorts of weird little details and descriptive elements that try to help show the cartographer and the tools of his trade. So around his neck is another sort of weird lens-like thing that ends in a glass sphere that perhaps is for magnifying or looking at the world in a fisheye, because of course cartographers would want to look at the world through a fisheye.
A fisheye lens? Or?
Yes, off of his hips, he's got a bag full of other scrolls and charts that he has drawn out. And then he's got a crazy, like a sax knife, like the Saxons from England had on his hip.
And so it's curved.
Yeah, and then there's a spear that has a little bit of an African sort of blade on it, or inspired blade on it. He also has a leather wrist guard as if he is an archer for some reason, and I'm not quite sure why that is, but it is in the picture.
When you did this artwork for this card, did you submit one piece of artwork and it was accepted?
I sent them a sketch. They said, go ahead.
Wow.
We had a hell of a lot more freedom back in the day, if I can say that. And
yes, you can.
We were given wonderfully vague and yet specific instructions. For example, because we talked about it before, show and tell is a kid in a classroom with a box of tentacles. Everything else in the picture is me enjoying myself and having fun. This was clearly a guy, a surveyor of sorts, and this is what I made up to be a surveyor.
Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. I know from, again, being blessed for the last couple of days of having the opportunity of talking to you, throughout the days, that you don't play Magic the Gathering.
I don't.
You've never played Magic the Gathering.
I never have.
You do play games.
Yes.
Okay. Did you want to, I know I don't want to get too personal in your personal life, but what kind of games you play? You say you've played video games before.
Well, sure. I worked for a video game company for a little while, but prior to so I played N64, the PS2, the Dreamcast, the Sega Genesis.
Okay.
A million years ago, I played.
A million years ago.
No, I can't think.
So you pretty much started with the Nintendo 64.
No, I started with the crazy game had two knobs and the little rectangle
the Odyssey?
Up and down. Bonk, bonk, bonk.
Magnavox
bonk,
Odyssey?
Bonk. No, Pong.
Pong.
But so I go that far back, but and pinball games before that, but still. Early Gauntlet I played. Centurion needs food badly, or Valkyrie needs food badly. I played some of those text adventures where you would
on the PC.
Yeah,
I love those.
Mahalito.
Yeah,
would throw fireballs and such.
Yeah, there was a game called Zork. Did you ever try that one?
Zork Genesis. I have played. Yeah.
I almost gave up on that one, but I played it a couple times. I'm like, what am I doing? But
Wizardry. That's the one.
Wizardry. That's a classic. Oh my goodness!
When I was in school, yeah.
Man, you're showing my age, brother. All right, I've got some questions from my co-hosts, and they really, they because of technical issues, we couldn't get them on. See, the thing is, they would be able to hear you, but you're not going to be able to hear them. Okay. So, with them and being absent, I've got some questions from them to Jeff. So this question is from Onique, and it goes, Jeff, how many pieces of art did you submit that never made it to a card?
Every card I was given as a commission, I submitted a composition that was used. That being said, there were 2 or 3 compositions for a couple of the pieces. They weren't always submitted. I showed you some sketches today that were like 3 or 4 versions of the Doughty Horror before the Doughty Horror final composition that you saw. Many of my cards were sketched out and were right on the money the first time I submitted the drawing, and they liked it, and I went straight to paint. An exception to that would be Recurring Nightmare. There are 3 versions of it. One that's just the guy laying down with nothing behind it, just trying to figure out the pose. There's a version where there's 3 little squat aliens behind him, and then there's the version with the teeth and the eyeballs.
Yeah, I remember. Oh, yeah. You did mention the one from Titanic. No? The one piece of artwork where it was Rose.
Oh,
you did.
That was something.
That's
an altar, yeah.
Okay, that was an altar, yes. That was basically, he told me about a card that was like, think Titanic, think the scene with Rose laying on the couch with the necklace or something, and I want you to imagine you change that to a sapphire mox,
right?
And then I want you to change her Rose into Emrakul.
Yes, because as one wants to imagine Emrakul reclining on a couch with the gemstone.
I thought that's where you were
going. Being painted like a French girl. But
Emrakul, the spaghetti monster.
Yes, that's not what was done. But
you showed it to me, and I was looking at something I couldn't take my eyes off of.
That was a next level request from somebody.
Jesus, man. I'm not sure if this follow-up question is going to go along with that, so I'm going to read it to you. If it doesn't, I'll just edit it out. He follows up with, were there any of them that you had high hopes for but didn't make the cut?
No, all of the pieces that I sketched out were used.
Okay. That's the foil Liliana he pulled. So a long time ago, they had this Planeswalker. You know about Planeswalker? No.
Mm-hmm. I know Liliana's a Planeswalker. She's got a purple dress and the big gold crown thing.
You're
I've
amazing.
had to paint her a number of times.
You're amazing.
Because I do altars, and so I've drawn the Planeswalkers as show and tell.
Whoa, bro.
I'm lucky. It's a paper doll, so you can dress it as anything.
This is one of the most powerful ones I've ever had, and they actually brought her back to standard legal. My friend and co-host, Onique, opened earlier on this episode of the podcast 1 pack of Dominaria United, which is the newest set.
Right.
And that's what he pulled, and it was foil.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done.
It's right there. It was like, dude, I believe you.
Well done.
You know? You hear that, Onique? You say congratulations. Okay, I got a few more questions.
Sure.
To Jeff, did you find Magic the Gathering, or did they find you?
They found me. In fact, it must have been 1992. Jesper Mirfors, the original art director, was at Gen Con, and I was there because I was on staff at FASA, and he was looking for artists to work on the game. The game hadn't come out yet. He talked to Jim and I. He talked to all the FASA artists. He talked to probably everybody in the Artist Alley at one point or another, because he was looking for as many different styles and techniques as he could find. And we were all asked to join in on this cool game that he's working on. Our boss said no. Our boss said, that's competition, you can't. The following year, he came and showed me a great big stack of cards and said, this is the game we're working on. And they were alpha cards. And I still thought it was super cool. And he goes, I still want to work with you guys. And we asked again, and it was still considered competition. 3 or 4 years later, in 96, the boss finally said, sure, go ahead.
Wow.
And so for the remainder of the time, Jesper was at WotC. I worked with Jesper, and I had a few cards in each of the editions. So I think I started in Tempest or Exodus, and I had a few cards in every single set. And I'm blessed in the fact that I got some cards that have some legs. And there's still, some of the cards are still being played, and certainly some of the cards had decks built around them. And it's remarkable.
You're really good friends with RK Post.
Yes, I am.
You're close enough where you call him Randy.
I've known Randy since before Magic, so yeah.
We had RK on the podcast, and where am I going with this? He said,
did he bring all of his phones so he's playing Pokemon while he was here?
We didn't see him in person. He wasn't in studio. He was actually doing this from the comfort of somewhere.
So he's probably playing his game.
I don't know. Where was I going at with this RK? You guys, what was the last thing you said before I asked you about RK? You said,
he says we're good friends. Yeah, he was at my very first show. I went to Santiago, Chile, because as one wants to start out, you go to the bottom of the continent, actually the bottom of the world. So I was in Santiago, Chile. It was Randy and I. We were the two artist guests for the Santiago GP. And from there, and Randy was showing me the ropes, and we had a great time. Yeah. And from there, I was asked to do the Eternal Weekend in Paris, and I was on the road from that point on.
That's where I want to go when I retire.
And it was fantastic.
Paris. But where I'm going with this, I just remembered, is we had RK on the podcast before, and he said, yes, I've played Magic.
Mm-hmm. He does.
And I said, that's very intriguing. Have you ever played with any of the cards you've done art for? And he said, yes. And you can make a crappy deck out of all the cards I've played with. So, I've got a few personal questions I just want to ask you.
Sure.
And, what do you tell a fan that comes up to you? Because I'm sure you get approached a lot. Dude, today I've seen you get interviewed at least 2 times, if not 3 times. And this is another interview you're doing right now. And my fans really appreciate it.
It's always amazing.
My co-hosts appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's nice to be asked. I'm happy to participate.
What are your feelings and thoughts and emotions when a fan, because I'm sure it's been happened before, where they come up and they say, hey, man, I grew up zoning out on your cards so much I can't believe I'm in front of you right now.
It's amazing, humbling. It's a remarkable experience every time it happens. I was in Yokohama at the Yokohama GP before COVID, and every so often.
Say, before what's going on with the world today.
Before what's going on with the world today, and I would have people come up to me, and they would be shaking. I thought I'd never meet you. And it was remarkable. It's humbling as can be. But the far more common interaction is, yes, I've had this card since I was a kid. It was in my first pack. And if it's a tattered old card, I'm delighted to design it because I want to see these
used,
loved cards.
Yes. And when I tell somebody, hey, man, it's like an $800 card, and they're like, why are you playing with it? Why isn't it framed up? It's like, dude, I want to play with my cards.
Right.
It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain to somebody that's like, you play with a $10,000 card or whatever you're playing with. It's hard to explain. It's like, these cards are really hard to find. They're very powerful. I don't want to lose them. I don't want to get them stolen. People have had these cards stolen and
sure,
get water damage and fires, and we protect them in sleeves and double sleeves and in deck boxes, and then put that in the book bag and maybe put a lock and chain on that. But from people that don't understand this game, looking outside, looking in, it's like, why would you spend that kind of money and then tear up the card? But you get it. You don't even play the game, but you get it.
You want the cards to be loved. You want them to be
You want the cards to be loved. I have a surprise for you.
What's that?
I'm not sure how you're going to take this. I'm not afraid of getting shot down, but I've got a surprise for you.
Okay, I'm game.
All right. We're almost near the end of the podcast episode. So what I figured was...
Is it time for karaoke?
No. You're not that lucky, mister. Again, I'm not afraid of getting shot down, okay? This is Dominaria United.
Right.
It's the newest set of Magic the Gathering.
Okay.
What makes this special is this is what they call the 30-year anniversary set.
So there's old cards randomly inserted, or is that a different set?
It's this set, but it's only in the collector edition version.
Okay.
So, the MRS, MSRP, the manufacturer suggested retail price, no longer exists with Wizards of the Coast.
Right.
It's up to each individual location.
Everything is worth what you're willing to pay for.
Exactly. It's always been that way, but...
it still is.
It's always
going to be that way for quite a while.
You got it, brother. Okay, so, with that being said, to let you know, the collector's packs go for right around, depending on where you live, $90 a pack.
I'm hoping that's not those.
These are $4 a pack.
Okay, good.
Okay. Now, the reason why I pulled these two packs out, and yes, even on this podcast, and I talked to you the last couple of days, you've never played Magic.
No.
We're not going to play Magic, but this is what I want to do. You can shoot me down, that's fine. I want to do a pack battle with you.
I don't know what that is.
I know you don't. A pack battle is simple. You can count to 10, right?
Wow.
Okay, so on Magic cards, they're either lands or they're spells. And there's converted mana cost on the top right. All you do with a pack battle is you open a pack.
Okay.
I open a pack. You count the pips. And whoever has the most wins.
No, that's not
So I'm going to show you my first card to give you an understanding.
Okay.
Lands don't count.
Don't they have values?
Top right corner.
Top right corner.
Yep. If that land doesn't have a top right corner, I'm going to show you. This token doesn't count. That land does not count.
It's a cool looking token.
Well, thank you, man. What's it called? It's called a worm.
But that counts because there's numbers in the bottom?
Nope. It's got to be on the top right. That's a token also.
That's a token.
So we're going to throw that token aside.
Okay.
We're going to throw this basic land aside. You don't have a basic...
land.
Yeah, you got a basic land. And then now this one's 3 plus 2, so it's a total of 5. Right? Right? So you got what? 1 and X?
Yeah, 1 and X.
So the X counts as nothing.
Okay, so it's a 1.
It's a 1.
Is the 2 skulls on the next card 2?
So this one's 2 skulls and a green. Is that what that says?
Yeah.
That's a total of 3. So
All right.
right now you're at 4.
I'm at 4, okay.
What's the next
I'm
one?
not going to tell you.
Oh, no, we can look at it. We can look at each other because whoever's got the most wins.
1 plus a teardrop.
So that's 2, right? 1 plus 1?
2.
So that's 2. We're at 4 plus 2 is
6.
6, okay.
So that would be 8.
8,
I have
okay.
a 1 and a skull.
So Jeff is at 8, yeah, that's correct.
I have a 1 and an asterisk.
Oh, this is white. So it's 2. So
Okay.
now we're at 10.
At 10.
Jeff's at 10.
Now I'm at 12 with a 1 and a tree.
Okay.
And a cool-looking sunbathing root walla.
Look at this. The artwork's catching his attention.
A Charisma's Vanguard is 3 more because it's a 2 and another asterisk.
Okay.
Right?
You know what we're at?
No, I've lost track of
That's okay. Let me see the ones you've already got here. I'll catch you up.
13, I think.
Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
All right, 15. Mr.
Okay.
Math.
Yeah.
So this would be 16 because it's just a skull thing?
Yeah.
Skull thing.
Yeah, it's a swamp. As RK would say, swamp.
16. So the Tide Pool Turtle is 4 more, which brings me to 20.
Correct.
The Battlefly Swarm has a 1, so it's 21.
Mm-hmm.
The Soaring Drake has a 2 and a Teardrop.
So it's 25, I think?
Yeah, 25. Then I've got Jaya's Firenado, which would be another 5 because it's a 4 and a fire thing or something.
What, we at 30?
Yeah, that's at 30. Then the Broken Wings brings me to 33.
And then a land.
And a land.
So your total right now is 33.
Right.
I don't know if I'm going to beat you, bro, but
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know. Let's find out because this is almost over. We got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. You see that 6?
Yeah. Oh, geez.
This 6, 19, 25.
The Tolarian Terror, for God's sakes.
I got the lyric there. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30.
Oh, no.
31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36.
Oh, I'm skunked.
I think I got you, brother.
You do. You do.
No way. Should I recount?
That's how it works.
Look, that was a pack battle.
Cool.
What happens with pack battles? The winner gets both packs.
Oh, so you get, well, they were yours in the first place.
Doesn't
so there
matter.
you go.
If in all honesty, dude, you can have them. I'll probably give them to a kid for free. Is what I'll end up doing.
That's very gracious of you. I like this worm card. It's nicely painted.
It's yours. You can have it.
Well, thank
Maybe
you.
it'll give you some inspiration. Well, thank you for coming on today's show.
Here's a pack thing that I saw in Italy when I was there. It was crazy.
Okay.
They would take 2 packs. They would each open it. They wouldn't look. They'd put one up on their forehead.
Yeah.
And then they'd tear the damn thing in half.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I don't know, man. I don't know. There's some rip it or flip it or rip it.
Flip it or rip it.
Flip it or rip it.
It was crazy watching them play. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, there's another content creator called Joey Moss from Bad Boy Gaming. He's a big time content creator on YouTube.
Okay.
And a long time ago, he did Axe It or Axe It. And he would just axe the cards in half, man, on this wooden block. We've been blessed on the Cryptic Commander to actually have Joey Moss from Bad Boy Gaming come on before.
Sounds like something Richard would do.
Yeah.
With one of his machetes or,
Yeah. But yeah, man, that's going to do it for today's show because we actually want to.
I was delighted to participate.
Thanks, man.
And I look forward to another pack battle.
Yeah. Don't know if you're ever going to do that again.
Who knows? But it was fun to try.
I'll tell you what, man. I went outside and I was telling people because I was going to get the food. I'm like, I got this guy, an artist for the game. He's never played the game. I'm going to do a podcast. I want the fans to see you do a pack battle. And like, I think that would be really cool. And these strangers were like, dude, that sounds amazing. I think your fans would enjoy it. And I told JJ too, my friend, I said, hey, I'm going to try and see this. And he goes, that's actually a good idea.
It's pretty darn cool. And the cards look great too.
Yeah, man, 30 years. Do you see the different frames they have?
They're gorgeous. And I love seeing the variety in the cards again.
Yeah.
So it's pretty darn cool.
What's planted in a lot of our brains?
Jeremy Wilson, super graphic approach.
Wow, man.
Jason Kang is really nice. I met him a couple of times.
When I had asked RK Post, because it didn't make it to the podcast, this part, I said, hey, RK, you see a lot of people doing digital artwork nowadays and stuff. Can you talk about that? He goes, actually, to tell you the truth,
it's the other way around.
The hand drawing's coming back.
Mm-hmm. Because the aftermarket.
Okay.
The collectors want originals, and the digital pieces can be done as one-off prints that aren't done again, or however unique way you want to have it manifested as a physical copy. But there's something to be said about having a 24 by 18 painting on the wall,
right?
And people are willing to pay premium money for it, and the sketches as well. And I think that's driving the fact that people are going back to traditional mediums.
Absolutely, man. I saw some of the things you had down there, your prints and your cards and your tokens, and Man, you had that what was it, Recurring Nightmare, just a little piece of it in the black frame, and you had a little silver your signature on the bottom. Dude, I think every one of your fans would want that on their mantle or fireplace or bookshelf, or
It's become a big part of my life. It's a gift. All these years later, these pieces that I did as a freelancer just have a life of their own, and I'm grateful as can be that they still live on. So thank you all.
Jeff, I really appreciate it. I want to honor your time. Thank you so much for coming on today's show.
My pleasure.
Man.
Thanks so much.
And everybody, thank you for tuning in today's show. And we're going to end it just like this. Me and Onique told you guys how it was going to go. And thank you all for listening to today's show. And until next time, keep spell slinging.